mentally abusive, emotionally abusive. It's just saying things that shouldn't have been said, doing things that shouldn't have been done, crossing lines, crossing boundaries that should have been set from the beginning. And at that point in time, it was kind of like, I'm going to try not to do this to you, and I hope you would try not to do that to me. And we'll see where it takes us. If it doesn't work out, at least we tried, honestly. But we got to try first. So we went to therapy. And he was here when he wasn't here. I was here when I wasn't here. No, it's his fault. No, it's her fault. She did this. He did that. And we wasn't really getting anywhere. I would feel good about what she told me, and then he would feel good about what she told him, but we weren't feeling good about fixing it. So we were still arguing about things, and then we started trying to go to church, and that really was a pivotal point in our relationship, because when we first started dating, I would try to get him to go to church with me, and he said, I'm not going to church with you. I'm not going. And I was just like, I don't know how this is going to work. I need to go to church. I have to feed my soul. And so when he started going to church with me, that was really like, okay, he's trying. He's really trying to get this together. So we got back into church. And we found a really good home church. It was diverse. You know, it was a lot of people that were married there who were older and had advice. And they held us together. They gave us advice that our friends that were not married could give us. Our friends that didn't understand, or our friends that were married but didn't care about their marriage, didn't care about their relationship, were still doing things that would make their marriage break. You know what I'm saying? We had mentors then, something we didn't have before. And so when the next event happened in our life, it was kind of a shock. I ended up getting hurt at work, and I didn't think about it. You know, you get hurt, and it's kind of like, I'm already a female in the military. I'm already small. I have to make this work. Like, I can't be seen as weak. And it wasn't until the next day after the event I started having headaches. And it was kind of like, my head really hurts. And, you know, I took ibuprofen, Tylenol. Nothing helped this headache. So I decided I'm going to go to the clinic. And at that point in time, like I said, Chase was 6 months. And they were like, maybe it's your birth control, because at that point I was still bleeding. They're like, why are you still bleeding? You know, maybe it's your hormones. Maybe that's why. So they changed my birth control. And the next day, my head still hurts. They gave me oxygen. They thought, well, maybe you're not taking in enough oxygen. That can cause you to have headaches. And then they said, you know, maybe you're stressed. You know, you were hospitalized a few months ago for stress. Maybe that's it. That wasn't it. They gave me some strong medicines. They took me to the hospital to get an MRI. Nothing showed up. Everything was fine. And I'm like, I'm telling you, something is wrong. My head hurts. It's killing me. My brain hurts. And, you know, one of the nurses, being smart, you know, your brain has no feelings. It has no nerves for you to feel. I feel something, and it's not right. That entire week, I was just in pain, tired. It's like my energy was leaving me. And it was one sergeant. He was kind of like, something is wrong. I felt dizzy. I almost fainted at work. You know, something was wrong. And they gave me a plate at work. And they was like, maybe you need to eat something. I'm like, I'm eating. I'm resting. Something is wrong. So that Friday, I asked one of my friends to keep Chase for me. I'm like, maybe I am stressed. Maybe I need to go somewhere. And I had got tickets for us to go to a movie. I had planned a dinner. And I called Chad and tell him, you know, I have a surprise for you. Come home. Still try to make it work. And he goes, oh, me and the boys going to the barracks to play the game. And I'm like, what? I'm telling you, I got a babysitter. I'm telling you, we got plans. And you want to go play a video game? That's more important to you? Like, are you serious? Like, you're stupid. This is not going to work. This is why it's not working. And I was very upset with him until he got home. And I was like furious. Like, oh my gosh, I had these plans. Why don't you want to do it? So he got home and I told him, oh, my head hurts. Chase is in his bed. Can you watch him while I take a nap? And I said it just like that. I had an attitude and everything. And he nodded. And I went to go lay down. And I didn't wake up for 3 days. So this is what they tell me. 2 o'clock that same morning, whatever you want to call it, Chad cuts on the room light because I'm shaking. And once he cuts on the light, I'm seizing. I'm having seizures. So he calls the ambulance, and they get there, and I'm still having these seizures. I'm still convulsing. Something is obviously wrong. I had never had seizures in my life. And they take me to the hospital on base. They didn't have the equipment that was needed. So they had to take me to a civilian hospital. And I get there. Now, obviously, I'm still having seizures. And that's very bad for your brain. You're having seizures, your brain is not getting oxygen. You can die from that. And so they're trying to figure out what is going on with her. So they hook me up to machines. They do tests. And they realize that she's had an aneurysm. They can see it on the MRI, on the CT scan. But just a few days ago, I had those tests and nothing showed up. Everything was fine. So I go into a coma. And I remember waking up a few times and there was something in my throat and going back under. And they told me that I pulled it out, excavated myself. And then I remember waking up and I felt chained. And they told me that I was, so that I wouldn't pull anything else out. And I remember them washing me, them giving me a bath. And I remember I wanted to say, oh my God, that water is so cold, because I could feel it. But I couldn't say anything. I couldn't move. It was like I was underwater and I couldn't move. And I remember someone praying for me. And I remember it sounded like my grandmother. And when I came from out of that coma, I called my grandmother and I said, did you come see me? And she said, yes, how did you know? And I said, I heard you. And I think the only reason I heard her, because multiple people came to visit me, is because she was praying. She was praying for me. And when I woke up, I was alone because Chad had to go to work. And they called him to let him know that I was awake. And when I saw him, he looked a mess. He looked so tired, so worried. Eyes red, no haircut, wrinkled uniform. Like he had been through a lot. And his smile was so big when he walked into that room. And I said, where's Chase? And he said, your family has him. They're looking after him for right now. And I remember talking to the staff, doctors, and they were saying, you're so lucky. You had an aneurysm at 20 and you had clonic-tonic seizures. You could have died. You know, if you would have hit your head a little bit more here, you would have died. You're lucky. And your husband signed the papers for us to put you on life support the first day. And I felt so grateful. Because if you knew how bad we argued, it's like you signed some papers for me to be on life support. You cared enough about me to try to save me. That really was a turning point in our relationship. And it was kind of like, wow, he cares. Maybe it took something like this to show that he cared, but he does. And me being down for those 3 days, I was out for 3 days, gave him something to appreciate, gave him something to miss. And it showed me that life is not to be taken for granted. You can be here one moment and gone the next. So what I took from that was, watch what you say to people. Watch what you do to people. Because had me telling Chad off that evening when I was mad about the plans that I made for us, been the last thing I said to him, that would have made me feel like a crappy person. If I went to heaven or hell or whatever I ended up, I would have felt like a crappy person. And I know he would have felt like crap about a situation that was not even worth getting angry over. So at that point in time, it was kind of like we realized that, well, when we argue, we're going to say what we got to say, and then we're going to dead the situation. I can't stand you. I can't stand you either. Oh, my goodness. But what are we eating for dinner? I love you. That's how we are now. And we set up new boundaries and new rules. And it was scary because I didn't know what was going to happen. I ended up having to get out of the military, which really tested our relationship again. Like, what are we going to do? How is your brain going to heal? You know, they said, you might have dementia, you might have Alzheimer's. We don't know how it's going to heal. You have your whole life ahead of you. And I do have moments where things slip from my memory, and it's kind of like, but God is a healer. I get stressed about it, but I'm going to be okay. Even if I forget you guys, you guys are going to remember me. I make a lot of videos, I take a lot of pictures so that in the event that I do forget, I have them to look at. They'll have them to look at. So a piece of me will always be with them no matter what. And so I felt sorry for myself at that point in time. Like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my career. This is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. What is going to happen? And I kind of started feeling like maybe this is not what I was supposed to do. Maybe I have a higher purpose here. Maybe, maybe this is not for me. And it's basically kind of like, I'm grateful to still be here. I'm grateful to be here to tell people this story, to let people know that you can overcome bad things in life. When bad things happen to you or things that you feel are not fair happen to you, you don't just let it stump you. Don't just let it hold you down. You don't become a victim to what you're going through. You rise above it. You try harder. Yeah, you're going to cry, but you wipe those tears. You figure something out. You pray about it. If you believe in a God and a deity, you do that. Because I'm pretty sure there's somebody that's had it worse than me. And they look at my story and they're like, that's all that happened to you? So I just felt like I needed to tell this story. And yes, I did reach out to my mother. And I found out some things that I needed to know. And do we have a great relationship? No. Are we currently talking? No. But I got the answers that I needed. I got the answers that helped me to let go of that hurt. Because I felt like I needed to know some things to know why you would abandon your child. I needed to know some things as to why I felt resentment for myself. Like, I need to know. And if you need to know some things, get those answers. No matter if it's the answer that you want, the answer you want to hear. That's the first step in healing, in living. And once you figure it out, you have to let it go. And you can't hold on to it because it'll kill you. And you ever heard the saying of, you can't drink poison and expect it to kill the other person. It's going to kill you. It's going to choke you out. I was so set on staying shielded that I could not let anyone in. I couldn't even let my husband in. I just couldn't do it. And that was killing my marriage before it even started. It was kind of like, I can do this. I got me. And once I let that go, and once I let him in, and we know why we did those things, because everybody has their own baggage. Everybody has things that they go through. And so you have to get rid of that luggage before you take it to someone else, before you try to do anything with someone else. So you're just adding stuff into a bag that you shouldn't even be carrying, right? If you have any questions, if you want to know anything that I was not clear about, you can ask me. But this is why I started my brand. This is why I want to speak to people. This is why I do what I do. This is why I'm positive. This is why I have the mindset that I do. Because I've been through things, and I'm not perfect. My family is not perfect, and I don't want to ever portray that it is, because we've been through things, and it's times where we thought we wasn't going to make it. It's kind of like people who know where we've come from. It's kind of like, if anybody wants to talk, I'm always here to talk. I'm not judgy. And if you don't believe in God, you just tell me that. And, I will not impose my views on you, but I am here for people who need to talk, who want to talk, who needs to let something off of their chest. I am in school right now for psychology. I do believe that my purpose is to talk to people, to help people, to get them through what they're going through. So, this is my story. This is my truth. See you guys next time.